From 17 once again, introducing you to my Batman Arkham City Hard Plus difficulty video walkthrough. And this is Vicky, Vale, and returning to the Steelmill. So we've just defeated our lovely nemesis, Mr. Freeze, and we're still in his lovely little icy palace. And you've got to exit this place, and when you do, there's going to be a news helicopter that sees you and goes on about saying how a rumour was true, Batman is here, and blah 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 blah. And it's going to get shot down, and you have to go and rescue Vicky Vale. And anybody who's wondering who Vicky Vale is, it's the character that Kim Basinger played in the very first Batman film that I was talking about in a couple videos back. And she doesn't really do too much in this game, which is kind of funny. And she's really easy to save. There's going to be two sets of snipers, two of them really close together so you can just bash their heads together, and another two that are over on a pair of stairs, and none of it's too challenging whatsoever. It's all nice and simple. And then we can get on to what we're actually trying to do, which is to find the Joker once again and demand some answers, because he's stolen the antidote. But once again, Batman's probably going to get a conversation and put his hand to his ear, because that seems to be the thing when it comes to this generation of gaming, which I find really hilarious that in these futures where technology is so ripe, they still have to put two fingers to their temple to receive a call. You think it'd just come through on some kind of microphone or something implanted like nano machines, but alas, they obviously don't have that kind of technology. And speaking of advanced technology, there's not so much rumours, but there are mentions of the next generation of consoles perhaps coming out in the end of 2012 or the start of 2013, which is pretty interesting when you consider that this is the longest generations of consoles we've ever had, and how good the games are looking now. So the next console, it makes me wonder, maybe the graphics aren't going to be that much better, they're just going to have, you know, a more consistent fidelity in them, and maybe they're going to run a little bit smoother and load a little bit faster and things like that. Either way, I'm hoping it's not going to have, you know, a ridiculous price tag on it, and it's going to be a positive thing, because I didn't get an Xbox 360 for a hell of a long time. I didn't even get into the next generation consoles because I just didn't think they offered anything new. I didn't really know too much about what was going on at the time, though, and that was the time when Perfect Dark Zero came out, and that was a pile of shit. So you can forgive me for having that ignorant stance, but that's what I believed at one time. But it is exciting, and it makes you wonder what the price ranges are going to be for the PlayStation 4 or whatever they're going to call it in the next Xbox, because consoles are getting actually cheaper, which is kind of crazy, because when they first come out they're always extortionate, they're always ridiculously expensive, and then they gradually wean themselves down to something more affordable, and they become cheaper than any other console has before, yet they're better than any other console's ever been. So it's kind of this strange situation. But that's Vicky Vale rescued anyhow. You can whisk her away, and now we're going to be making our way to the Steelmill and to Joker, which is actually a pretty challenging moment, because you've got to get into an alternative area of the Steelmill, and it's guarded by a lot of people with guns, and you can get killed so quickly because you can't just get to the door, and it's one of the worst mechanics in this game. For some reason, you can't stealth through any areas of the game for whatever purpose. You have to take away all the enemies that are in the vicinity before Batman will even open the door. And there's a section that comes up at the end of the game before you take on the last boss where there's a bunch of snipers, and I actually stealthed past the snipers. I didn't kill one of them. I got to the door, I went to open it, and the door was locked. Batman was banging his shoulder against it because I'd not killed everybody. And as soon as you kill everybody, it magically becomes open. And I think that's bullshit, because they should be designed in such a way that if you can stealth your way past it, you should be rewarded. You shouldn't be penalised just because you aren't being clumsy. To me, that's just preposterous. But in the last few videos, we were talking about Batman films. I say we ironically because I'm talking and the people are listening. But you know, we're a community here, so I can say we, you know, objectively and mean something. And we moved on to Dark Knight, which is one of the best Batman films ever made, and it's pretty difficult to disagree, but I do think there's problems with it. I personally think it's too long. I think they kind of took liberties with the length in it for some reason, and I do think that the Two-Face and the Harvey Dent stuff could have been put into a different Batman, because it would have been nicer if they'd have focused on Joker. I do realise that they have to have numerous plot lines threading together towards the end to make it feel, you know, fulfilling, but sometimes it just feels like a clusterfuck and like there's too much happening, and that's the impression that I got from all the Harvey Dent stuff. And don't get me wrong, it plays beautifully into the story, and Aaron Eckhart is a fantastic actor. I just think it was a little bit too much, a little bit akin to Batman Forever, where there was just so much happening. It felt like a big old gumbled mess of characters. But obviously, Dark Knight does perform a hell of a lot better because it's betterly directed, it's got better actors, and it's just a stellar film. And as I've mentioned, Heath Ledger does a fantastic performance, which no doubt if you're on the internet you know all about it, and you probably said why so serious for several weeks after the film came out and dressed up as him on Halloween and shit like that. And I wouldn't go that far, but the dude was cool in the movie, I liked him a lot. Christian Bale did a sound performance as per usual, and there was a lot of dark and interesting moments to it, which was nice. And it's obviously fulfilling the way for the next one that's going to be coming out that they're in production of right now. The only problem with it is it's got bloody Catwoman in it. Not Catwoman, sorry, it's got Batwoman, who's going to be played by Anne Hathaway, and there's probably going to be Robin turning up, and I think you run the risk of killing something if you put too much in it. That's why I think the Avengers movie is almost destined to fail, because there's so many good characters and so many cool things that they're trying to put into that film. There is no way that they can have a concise narrative that enables each of those characters to shine equally. It's just not going to work that way. There's going to be people that are going to get far too much airtime, and it's going to be on far too many pointless reasons, and it's just going to feel indulgent, but I pray I'm wrong. Anyhow, this is the area that we've got to get into, the Steelmill. This is where it gets challenging, because every single one of these guys has guns, and it's a pretty awkward area to maneuver. So the first thing I do is I get up to a better elevation point, because I'm trying to pull these guys off with the back claw, but that guy on that roof in front of me, for some reason, he doesn't want to fall off. There's like an invisible wall that stops him from falling off, and as soon as he knows you're there, and he'll start dodging the claw, and there's nothing you can do then except for get really mad and throw batarangs at him. But it's a pain in the ass. So I pulled his gun off him, which is stopping him from shooting me, which is good. And then I move all the way back over to this roof, and I try and get the other guys off of these balconies here. And the best thing about this is as soon as you get one guy, the friends are going to come and investigate, and then you can generally get the rest of them. And if it doesn't work that way, you can always glide across and start doing some silent takedowns and things. But this is deceptively more difficult than it looks, and if you rush into this area, you will get shot dead very quickly. Alas, if you've got more life than me, you'll probably take a bigger beating and it'll be less of a problem. Anybody wondering, I did not mean to do that. Batman just did whatever the fuck he wanted and nearly got me killed. Nothing better than those moments when you absolutely shit your pants. Always fun. But just be as stealthy as you can, and as I mentioned, the best thing about taking one guy down is it usually tells his buddies where you are, and they'll come. And once again, that douchebag does not want to fall off that roof, and now he's playing funny bastard bugger up there, dodging everything I throw at him, as if he's Neo from the Matrix, so I just think, I'm not going to mess with you, there's no point. So I attack his friend. His friend plays ball and goes flying, and then I get to silent takedown. And I do believe those two guys below me are now going to be coming up to me, up the stairs. We'll soon find out. I'm even going to look. There they are, here they come. And the best thing about this is, they're now in an area where I can use the back claw to pull them down. And that's hopefully exactly what I'm going to do. Because I don't know what just happened then. Somebody must have thrown a grenade. But that's the first guy off the roof. There you go. There's his friend. His friend... Oh, see what I mean? Absolutely flawless. Why doesn't it work on the guy on the middle bit? I do not know. He's just a stubborn bastard and I don't like him. So I go up there and I punch him in the face. So take that, bitch. And he threw a can at me. Come on, man. There's not even a can on that roof to throw, yet he somehow magically gets a can and throws it at me. Goomba. But there you go. That's opened the way to these two guys down here. So all you do, or all I do, should I say, is I neutralise one of them's gun, and then I glide down and kill the other one. And it's, job's a good one. So, as always, people, thanks for watching. Please feel free to leave a like if you enjoy what I'm doing, or a new reaction, even though they're extremely biased. And as always, you take care now.